Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Money Mindset Hub podcast. I am your host, Carla Townsend, a money mindset and success coach for female entrepreneurs. I am here to support women who are ready to eliminate their money blocks and monetize their journey online. And I goddamn love this job. It is the best thing in the world. So today is going to be a juicy one. And this is around the assumption that will 10x your profit. Now, before we dive in, I have to let you know that tomorrow, Money Methodology, my signature money program, is going live. So this is for you. If you are a high achieving entrepreneur who is ready to dissolve your money blocks and elevate your earning potential once and for all, then you want to be in this space. We start July 16th. We are going to have the 6 live calls together. There are 5 modules that will be dropped 5 weeks in a row. And we have the welcome kickoff call on July 16th. Honestly, I cannot wait. It's friggin' exciting. Even just going back through it. Like, I created this program because this was the program that I always wanted around money. And I am someone who is so simple and efficient when it comes to money. The way that I view money, the way that I manage money, the way that I expand money, all of it has always just been such a simple process in my eyes. But there's so many internal layers that I had to go through. There was so much of my inner child that I needed to work on. There was so much shadow work that had to be done. And yes, you can bet all of that is included. So this program is something that could be really quite uncomfortable for you, but it is a godsend. Where to God, the results that my clients get from going through this program is insane. I'm talking like from 4K months to 14K months, consistent 5-figure months, manifesting the cost of the program back in full within a couple of weeks of starting. Sales out of nowhere, unexpected money coming in, tax returns that they didn't think they were going to get, literally finding money everywhere. Like, it is crazy when you unlock the keys to be able to actually attract more and money gets to come out of thin air. I will never, ever forget the day when I was sitting on the couch on a weekend with my kids under my arms and we were watching the TV. And next thing, I had a couple of sales like come through on Stripe. And I realized, oh my God, that was multiple 4 figures just flowed into me within 24 minutes of one another. And I'm sitting here on the couch with my kids. I was not anticipating these sales, but this is the beauty of it. When you learn how to not only dissolve your own internal subconscious money blocks that are actually playing out, that you're projecting out to the world, but you don't even realize it's happening. When you start to become aware of that and you start to really get aware of the language and your perception and your observations in the world around you and what's happening, everything changes. And you can honestly blow your own mind with how much you can create and call in and manifest into your life. It is mind blowing, and I cannot wait to see you in there. If not now, I know eventually because you're listening to this podcast, and maybe you're one of my OG listeners from the very beginning. Money methodology is the thing that I'm known for. That is my framework to manifest. And if you've been a part of my journey for this long, you would know that my life has definitely changed tenfold since I started this business. And yes, obviously I do talk about money and success, but it's very deep. It's so much deeper than that. And I know that if you're here and you've watched me, especially if you're another mama in business that has been growing business whilst raising your children, I applaud you. I know you can do it. I can't wait to see you in there. If not now, eventually, I know that I will see you in there in that community. If you want to learn more about money methodology, if you want to join us and you want to be in this live energy to get live support, then please go to moneymindset.com/money. All the links are in the show notes for you as well. But let's dive into this assumption that's going to 10x your profit. So I feel like I'm a bit of a broken record when I say this to my clients because I have said it so many times that I cannot count. But here's some assumptions that you need to have around your audience that are actually going to support you, support your business, support your revenue goals, and actually just be able to 10x your profits and blow your own mind, okay? Because that's what we're here for, right? Not money for the sake of money, but it's money for what it gets to provide us, which is to manifest the life and business of our dreams that we never want to escape, the one that we're so proud of, the one that at the end of the day, when we get to our hopefully 90-year-old self, we can go, I did it. I believed in me. I tried. I did it. I didn't give up. But these assumptions are going to support you. So, first off, do not assume what your client can afford, can or can't afford. It is one of the biggest ones. I have seen it time and time again. I can't up my prices like that because they won't be able to afford it, or my clients typically don't have any money. Do you know that for a fact? And yes, maybe sometimes you do know that for certain people, but do you know for a fact that like everyone in your audience, everyone that's watching you online, everyone that's maybe reading your blog or reading your email, listening to your podcast or seeing your social post, do you know that every single one of them cannot afford your services? Even if they're like $50, $100, $1,000? Remember, money is subjective. Money is subjective. So what is a lot to you and a lot to someone else is two very, very different amounts of money. When you think back in the day when you first started working, I know for me, I was like 14 and 9 months because that's when you're legally allowed in Australia. 14 and 9 months, I was on like less than $10 an hour. And that was a lot to me back then. But now, fast forward 20 odd years, I would not get out of bed for $10 an hour. So think about that. When what you used to earn and what you earn now are two very different amounts. But your perception of what is a lot and what is not a lot has just changed based on your experience of life. And as you get older, obviously, you desire more things, your expenses go up, you might move out of home, mum and dad aren't really paying for things. Everyone's lives are different, and what we desire to experience is different. So your level of what is expensive and what is cheap is very different compared to the next person. Same thing goes for your clients. And same thing goes for everyone in your audience who are not yet clients, but potentially are going to be. Do not assume what they can and cannot afford because you have no idea. I remember working with this beautiful lady. It was a private client of mine. Now, I could have made the assumption, this was a few years ago, I could have made the assumption back then that she could not afford to do private with me because at the time she wasn't actually working and she had paused her business. But she had savings and she valued the work that we were doing together. She valued me and what I could provide her, the space that I could hold for her. So an outsider looking in would have been like, oh, but she's not working. She's paused her business and things like, how could she even afford that? She probably can't afford that. You probably got to lower your rate or discount or something like that. But no, she had savings and she spent the money where she valued. So do you value your products enough to charge them at the rate that you desire to charge them at? Do you really? Hand on heart, are they worth the price tag that you're placing on them? Or do you feel like they maybe should be more? Because it is very easy. One of the blocks that I see a lot is undercharging and then over delivering, like putting too much in, but it's not actually worth it. It's not worth it in terms of the price that you're actually getting for that. It's so much more work and time and energy and effort that you're putting into creating this beautiful offer, but then you're not actually being compensated fairly for that. And then what happens is you do it a few times, become resentful for your business, and then you shut it down and give up. Or think you have to pivot every several months because things aren't working, when it's actual fact, it's probably your pricing structure that's not really working. And it's probably your beliefs and assumptions about what your potential clients can and cannot afford. So just remembering, do not assume. Never assume. My dad used to say that all the time. Never assume, Carla. He would always say that. And it stuck with me in business. So even though we weren't talking about business back then when I was a teenager, he's like, never assume. It makes sense. And I've definitely taken that with me. So thanks, Dino. So next one, number 2. Don't charge based on what you think someone will pay. Okay? Don't think, okay, I'm going to put this as this because I think this person would value it, or this particular client would value paying this for this particular offer. Don't do that because you have no idea what someone will or won't pay. Again, ties into what they can and can't afford. But also, what someone will or won't pay is based on their value and how much they actually value the thing that you're putting out. So if you're putting out something and you've done a good enough job of actually marketing it and providing information on the transformation that they're going to get within that offer, then they're going to pay for it regardless of what you charge. I ever had this belief once, obviously at the very beginning of my business, I too had this belief. I was like, oh, like maybe I should charge this because that's probably more affordable for people. Do you want to be affordable or do you want to be like boutique? again, depends on your business, depends on your client. Who are you speaking to? Who are you trying to attract? Because that is going to make a very key decision clearer. What do you think someone will pay? Now, there are various different ways to do pricing, and I'm going to a lot more depth within money methodology and how to price and the psychology behind pricing. But I just want you to really think about that. Where have you priced something because you think someone will pay, and then in actual fact, they probably didn't, or you didn't get as many signups as what you anticipated, and you're a bit defeated because you thought they would pay and you priced it that way to make it, say, quote unquote, affordable, but it didn't work out in your favor? Everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson, and entrepreneurship is just an experiment. So if it didn't work, try again. Maybe tweak your pricing. Maybe that's done. All right. The next one this is the third and final one based on all of that. This is the assumption that I want you to have, okay? So quick recap. Do not assume what your clients can and cannot afford. Do not charge based on what you think someone will pay or won't pay. Remember, they will pay for what they value. So have you done enough on the marketing side in order to be able to convert them or not? In order for them to be able to build know, like, and trust with you or not? So often what happens, and I see this online a bit, and I've definitely been guilty of myself, so I'm tried and tested here. So when you have something to offer, you come out and you put it out there because you're so excited and you lit up and you're like, let's go and let's do this. However, you've actually neglected your community, and maybe you've dropped off the face of the earth for a few weeks and no one's heard from you. There's been no emails, there's been barely any social media, maybe no podcast, whatever it is. However you contact your audience, however you communicate, however you share value. Maybe you've dropped off a little bit or it hasn't been that much value. Then you turn around and then you share something and expect people to buy, but you dropped your ball. Like, you dropped the marketing ball. You dropped that consistency. So when someone is not certain of you and confident in you, and you, because you do drop your consistency, this is why consistency is so important. I don't care what anyone says, consistency is important. What are your non-negotiables every week? Do them. Don't let them drop. So if you are not consistent, there is no certainty in you. Therefore, there is no confidence in you, and that you will be here and continue to play the game, and that you're a sure bet. Sure bet? You know what I mean. But if you're not a sure bet, why would they bet on you? And then when you come out to actually sell something, which is probably bloody unreal, amazing, the transformation is incredible, it's exactly what they need. But they're like, oh, I haven't really seen you much. Where'd you go? And now you're trying to sell us something. Can feel icky. And selling doesn't need to either. Selling doesn't need to feel icky, and it shouldn't. But have you done a good enough job in the lead up to for it to actually convert? And again, it doesn't matter how seasoned you are. Sometimes launches flop. Sometimes they do spectacular. Again, it's just all an experiment. So you're just going to try it out, tweak it, look at the data. Where can you be better? What can you change and pivot and keep going? Try again. Just keep iterating. Entrepreneurship is just an experiment. Every launch is just an experiment. But I always truly think the energy in which you're creating something is how it will be received. So if you are creating something purely for the fact of this will bring me money, it will 9 times out of 10 not sell. It will not bring you the money that you're expecting because you're expecting the result. You're actually not creating it because it will serve your audience. It will be of service. It will help someone. The more that you show up from a place of just serving and just putting out information because you want to talk about it, you're passionate about it, you know it's going to help them. And it's always just, I see it as like you're putting out good karma into the world, and eventually, yes, it's going to come back. And maybe if you're not making the sort of money that you want to be able to make, there's probably just a few tweaks, probably a little bit of energetics there. There's probably a bit of like inner child shadow work, belief work that we need to do there in order to be able to actually get to the level of business that you want. The consistency, like, it's just building your person. It's becoming the woman that you dreamed of, stepping into that next level identity of you. That's required. There's a lot required of you to get to certain levels of this game of entrepreneurship. But the one that is so important for this episode, the one The single assumption that you need to make about your audience in order to 10x your profits is assume that your audience are sitting there waiting for you to put out this offer that serves them. Like, they are waiting. They have got their cash ready. They're like, let's go. What have you got? Give them a few. Give them a few offers. Let them know, I have this or I don't have this. There's so many different things, like, come and try this out. You don't want that. It's actually this. You've got to have a different array of things. Now, I'm not someone who typically has a lot of offers. Some people love that. Not me. Probably makes sense. If you're a human design lover, I'm a projector. So I'm sort of someone who just like refines and gets better and has limited sort of amount of things. But it's so good to be creative at the same time. And it's good to have a bit of a timeline as to where they can come in and take from or test from or try from. But that's what I want you to think about. The assumption is that every time you show up on stories and people watch your stories, they're like waiting. Like, what have you got for me? I'm ready. I want you. But I need to be certain of you. I need to be confident in you. So what have you got for me? And then keep showing me that you're a sure bet. Keep showing me that I should put my money into your business, into you. I should back you. Make the assumption that every time you show up, that someone is there listening, that they are all ready. I always make the assumption that this podcast episode, it will help just one person. If it just helps one person, it gives someone that push of encouragement, that loving push, that kick up the ass, whatever it is that you want. I always trust that every episode is going to help one person. If it helps more than that, then that's a bonus. But everything I put out, I try and make sure that it's from that place. And I want you to do that too. Assume that your audience are just ready to buy. They're ready to buy, but they need to know you're a sure bet. And I hope that helps. I hope you like this episode. And hopefully that was the kick up the ass that you needed. Anyway, like I said, Money Methodology begins tomorrow. So I cannot wait to see you there. If you are joining us, please go to moneymindset.com/money or just hit the link in the show notes. And I'll see you there. It's lifetime access. You will continue coming back to this work just like I do, just like my clients do, for years and years and years, forever. Because money mindset is something that never ends. And it is purely my best work yet. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I would absolutely love it if you could please leave me a 5-star review and let me know your thoughts. Remember, everything you desire and deserve is just on the other side of your own resistance. So take that next step.